Yep.
Good
So,
morning, sir.
good
Good
morning,
evening, sir.
Dr. Krishnakant. Okay. So, what about the other members? Like Arunav, I hope Arunav is going to present on today. Arunav, Arunav, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Arunav, Krishnakant, and the third person, Udit. So, I cannot see him as of now. Yeah. Krishnakant, Krishnan, sorry, Krishnan or
Yes, sir.
Arunav. Okay. So, there is a lot of noise. So, Arnav, हेलो अर्नव.
सर एक मिनट वो चेक कर रहा है हेडफोन को, इसके हेडफोन में कुछ दिक्कत आ रही है.
Okay. Fine. So you guys are, I hope, well prepared. And so who will be starting first?
Sir, I will be introduced and then Arnav will be show us some application and Udit will be solve some questions.
Okay. So the thing is that whenever one person is switching to other, do let me know that the other guy is going to present, so that I'll be evaluating accordingly. Right?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
So if like you are switching to Arnav and then Arnav to Udit, so whenever Arnav comes in, let me know that is going to present, and when Udit comes in, again speak up that Udit is going to present, so I will evaluate accordingly. Right, and let me see. Uh, I could see only 9 students as of now, so let us wait for a minute, probably, and then we'll start. And tomorrow, who's the group? Dinesh, Rahul, and Vajanti. Is anybody here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So again, tomorrow we'll be meeting at the same time, right? Four
Okay,
o'clock,
sir.
right? Just all of you be informed that tomorrow we will also be meeting at 4 o'clock only, because again there is interview scheduled for PhD in the morning. So we'll be meeting at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let let us go ahead, and you guys can start.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Can you share the screen, or I have to change the?
Sir, I am sharing.
Okay, I could see it. I hope others can.
Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, sir. Okay, I am presenting now. And today we will study about the plasticity and its application, and we will solve some problems of which containing plastic deformation. I will be introduce the plasticity.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Today we will be study about the plasticity and its application, and we will solve some plastic deformation containing plastic deformation problems. I will be introduced what is the plasticity. Then Arnav will be show you some application on plasticity based, and Udit will be solve some deformation plastic deformation problems. Okay. Firstly, I introduce what is the plasticity. As we when applied the load on material for up to yield stress limit, it will show the elastic property, in which when we unload the material, it will be go in original position. But after certain yield point limit, when we continue the loading and then we unload the material, then it will be contain some plastic deformation, which will be plastic permanent deformation, and we will study about what goes to this plastic deformation, how will we evaluate this, and what is the phenomena beyond this condition. Generally, plastic all material goes to permanent deformation after the yielding stress. But as we know, the brittle material after the yielding point, its strength, its property decrease, and it's when further we apply the stresses, it will be fair. But in general, in ductile material, it will be so plastic deformation up to fatigue point, up to fatigue stress. So we generally plastic deformation occur in plastic ductile material. Now we will study about the yielding point, yeah, yielding stress point. As we know, the plastic permanent deformation occur after the yield stress. So we can say yielding implies the initiation of permanent deformation or a plastic deformation. Okay. As we know, in yielding phenomena, why plastic deformation occur? Because the sliding of atomic planes slip over another, which cause the dislocations of motion of dislocation and mitigation of boundaries on micro levels. It's which cause the plastic deformation or the plastic permanent deformation. Generally, we know in elastic deformation occur due to when we in elastic limit, when we applied the load on the material, it absorbs the strain energy, and after the removal load, it record only in original position. But in the plastic after the yield stress, if we continue the loading and it goes to permanent deformation, then it's dissipate the energy of its strain energy to the molecules of its dislocations and grain boundaries, which can't be recalled to original position without extra energy provided. Okay. This is the basic phenomena of yielding stress, yielding of the material in which plastic deformation occur. Now, yielding materials bear two types of yielding behavior, in which some materials show strain hardening and some materials soft hardening. What is the strain hardening? All ductile materials show the strain hardening, which also called the work hardening, in which when we want to further plastic deformation after the yield stress, we need to apply more stresses up to fatigue limit, because after it's become more stronger and difficult to deform during plastic deformation, because its hardness increasing and it's gain energy. But some material like brittle material after the yield stress limit, its property decrease, and it's for more plastic deformation we do not need more energy to strengthen to, and in which some in which the elastic flow of strength flow goes to downward, and for up to particular limit, then it will be fail. As we first in first diagram, the plastic deformation actually, as we know, when we applied in engineering stress strain diagram, the after yielding point, there's some stresses in decreases during for further application like this diagram, and then above the ultimate it goes to fatigue and then fail. But in true stress, we will study about the true stress strain diagram, in which the for more strain, it needs to more stresses, because there will be decrease in area during plastic deformation, and so it's caused required more forces to more displacement. So this phenomena is in strain hardening, but in soft hardening there will be its property of elasticity will be decreased, or its strength will be decreased after the yield. So we do not need more stresses after yield limit. It's a soft hardening phenomena, soft hardening property. During plastic deformation, there is some three processes occur. One of them is crazing, in which internal molecules voids formation occur, and the planes are moved to slip to one from one. Other is the shear bending. Shear bending, it's mean this is a main phenomena of permanent deformation, in which crystal structures or orientation of molecules are slide one upon one another. In which like this material, if we applied this stress or load, then its molecules after yield point, it will be moved to its original position, and after unloading, it do not come in original position, which causes the permanent deformation of the material. There is also a making formation occur in plastic deformation. It's not done in elastic deformation. In plastic deformation occur making because the cross section area decrease after some limit of material strength. This is the main three processes occur during plastic deformation. There is some simple models of plastic engineering stress strain curve for plastic deformation, in which one of the linear elastic plastic deformation, in which for both processes up to elastics, and then about elastic to plastic, the behavior of stress strain curve is linear. This is a hypothetical, and for elastic plastic, perfect plastic, after the yield limit, it goes the perfect plastic. It do not show the strain limit, and it's for further deformation. We do not needs to increase the stress after the yield limit. There is some rigid linear hardening material for which are the linear limit after the yield stress, and for more deformation we need to increase linearly stress for the linear stress. And there is fourth one is the perfect plastic material. in which for increase for the minimum stress, for the minimum deformation, we needs to apply the yield stress because it do not show elastic property. And after the yield stress, it's simultaneously increase the stress in the scalar form. These are the some basic engineering stress curve for elastic plastic material. There is a property. We generally neglect this property during study of plasticity, and it's occur only in plastic deformation. It's not occur in elastic deformation. It's a Buchinger effect in which when we applied stress on the material up to yield limit, and then unload the material, and then furthermore we applied the stress, and then furthermore stress applied, then we will show then its yield limit will be decrease. Its yield limit will decrease, or do not say decrease. It will be change. This is effect of Buchinger effect, in which there is some example. When we applied stress on tensile stress on material, then up to yield stress limit, and then unload, and then again we applied the stress as a compression stress. We can say opposite direction to the first one. Then it will show its yield limit will be now less than initial yield limit. This is a Buchinger effect. Generally, we neglect this effect during study because we choose as a same yield limit for compression and tensile for our study purpose. Now I will show them some, as we in plastic elasticity analysis, we study Hooke's law for the stress strain analysis, but in plastic strain, there is no particular law for study. There is some empirical stress strain equations for study of this. One of them is Ludwig Paul laws, in which stress with strain relation is the relation with an exponential coefficient of the exponential coefficient for the stress applied. Which will be vector, what is the going curve, what is going curve formation, and what is the its in which and we will show its effect of strain hardening coefficient during generally brittle materials. So strain hardening in general. Strain hardening coefficient generally vary in 0 to 0.5, and as we consider, and yes,
ये तो सेकंड ग्रुप के टॉपिक है सारे।
नहीं मैं
बॉसिंगर इफेक्ट से जो शुरू हुआ है।
नहीं, मैं थोड़ा इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूँ, बाकी पूरा इफेक्ट पूरा सेकंड ग्रुप के लिए ही है ये।
Bhupen,
यस सर।
yeah, let him speak up. The second group, whosoever it's, they will cover it again, and they will publish more in detail.
ओके सर, ओके,
थैंक यू सर। And strain hardening coefficient generally vary 0 to 0.5. As if is n equal to 0, then its slope infinite, and in which material behavior rigid plastic, as I saw in the perfect plastic material. Its strain hardening coefficient is 0, and sigma proportional. There is a relation up to a constant relation with the strain. And the strain plastic strain is we consider as the localized strain with respect to study, in which the total strain is the plastic strain and elastic strain, and this formula is for plastic deformation to up to yield non-linear elastic limit to yield point, as we study for what is the material going to failure. And higher the value of strain hardening, the more the hardening material, and then it goes to, if n equal to 1, then its material we have the elastic material for the linear limit, as the we use in Hooke's law. There is one another equation of plastic deformation. This is a Vogt equation in which also the relation about the stress strain as so on. As I shown in these graphs, these empiricals, as the strain coefficient is increasing, then strain hardening also increasing. As we study in the material, the strain hardening increasing during strain hardening coefficient, and its work is exponentially increasing. And for further information, next group will be solid. There is another relation. It's also empirical equation from Remberg-Oltmann equation. It's also relate to strain hardening coefficient, which will be show the relation curve of the strain curve for different strain hardening coefficients. Okay, these are the some basic about plasticity, and there will be some more for more information about. We can took some theory book in which are more details are shown, and we can choose some NPTEL lecture. Now my friend Arnav will be give you some abstracts.
Krishnan, before
Yes.
moving ahead.
Yes, sir.
So I hope you have covered your presentation, right?
Yes, sir.
So I have some questions.
Yes,
Let's take it.
Okay.
First, go to the first slide. This is just suggestions, not the questions, right?
Yes, okay.
Just suggestion on your presentation of PPT, not the technical suggestion. Go to the first slide. First one, starting of topic. इसमें आप ये करिएगा कि whenever you are starting the topic, have the font size, मतलब थोड़ा font size को better रखिए.
Okay.
And keep it center, and you should enter. You should put your name and the roll number also.
Okay, sir.
Like presented by your name and your roll number. That kind of information can be there, right?
Okay, sir.
And इस title को थोड़ा बड़ा करना था. Then you go to the second slide, right? यहाँ पे आपने ये statements जो हैं, have you write it on your own, because or the paragraph that you have on the left side?
No, sir. I took from the book and some NPTEL lecture.
So that's what I'm saying. You should write your bullet points, right? What you are planning to convey in a particular slide, you should write that bullet points instead of taking a direct image from whatever you see. ठीक है? Clear?
Okay, sir.
और अब एक चीज यहाँ पे थी कि यहाँ पे टेक्निकल क्वेश्चन मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, why we need to study plasticity?
Yes, sir. As all the material, and this will be application of plasticity, and all the mechanical materials, they deform in the plastic strain, or we can say maximum materials are failed due to fatigue, and generally in elastic limit, the material do not fail. And so for analysis of fatigue, we need to study about plasticity. It's what is the behavior of material after the yield applied. If we continue the loading the material, and when it will be fail. So we need to study about the plasticity for the analysis of mechanical system or other kind system which are deforming fatigue limit.
Okay. So what you are saying, during fatigue happens only when there is a plasticity?
After the plastic limit, the fatigue is.
So what my question is कि आप जो स्ट्रक्चर में एलिमेंट्स, मैकेनिकल कंपोनेंट्स लगाते हैं जो फटीक लोडेड हैं, तो वो क्या प्लास्टिक डिफॉर्मेशन में होता है?
Yes, sir.
इज इट?
Yes, sir.
तो जो जैसे शाफ्ट अंडर फटीक लोडिंग रहता है, ठीक है, shaft is subjected to fatigue, so is it within the elastic limit or it goes to the plastic limit?
So it's depends on material we have. If it is brittle material, then it's fail in the elastic limit. But it's generally all the material.
शाफ्ट जो है, जो स्टील का शाफ्ट है, जो जैसे आप एक सिंपल मोटर है या एक सिंपल टरबाइन का शाफ्ट है, इट इज सब्जेक्टेड टू फटीक लोडिंग। फटीक लोडिंग होती है उसमें, मानते हैं आप?
Okay. Yes, sir.
है ना, फटीक लोडिंग होती है क्योंकि वो सर्कुल जब घूम रहा है तो उसके लोड्स का डायरेक्शन चेंज होते रहता है।
Yes, sir. Cycling load होती है।
हाँ, तो इट इज सब्जेक्टेड टू फटीक लोडिंग। सो आर दैट लोडिंग इन द प्लास्टिक लिमिट और आर दे इन इलास्टिक लिमिट?
There is in plastic limit, sir.
प्लास्टिक, तो आप कह रहे हैं कि मटेरियल यील्ड हो चुका रहता है।
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, any other person wants to say anything on this? Because it's an open discussion and we want to have a discussion, right? So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि the person who is presenting will only answer the question. If anybody else has any other from the group members,
Sir.
Aruna, Udit, bolo.
Sir, the cyclic loading failure occurs in the elastic limit. Sir, as your question, why is there a need to study plasticity, right?
Yes.
Sir, as we have studied elasticity before, but nature has created materials as so that not every material is perfectly elastic. Some amount of plasticity is also in it. So we have many kind of applications where we need to deform the objects like deep drawing, extrusion, sheet metal operations. So if we didn't study the plastic element of the material, we don't know what we are supposed to do with those material, how much force we are supposed to make, extrusion ratios, force, stresses. Otherwise our equipment will fail miserably and we will incur losses.
Yeah, so that's the answer I was expecting. What Udit has said, that there are applications where you worked on the materials in the plasticity, like what he said. When we go for the manufacturing of components, you are going for deep drawing, you are going for extrusion or whatever you are doing, right? The process of manufacturing, there the application of plasticity is going to come in. Not on the shaft, as I was saying example. आप जो structure बना रहे हैं उसमें you are ensuring that the material doesn't get yield. वहाँ पे तो आप पहले ही factor of safety लेते हैं and all those things, and you are not willing at all to go into the elastic limit. That it may go. That's a different case. That's a failure, right?
Yes, sir.
But the पढ़ने की जरूरत क्यों है? क्योंकि हम प्लास्टिसिटी का यूज कर रहे हैं इन प्रोडक्शंस में, प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस में. Whatever you are creating through this, whatever you have now, what you have given in this particular slide, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे है एक्चुअली आपका प्लास्टिसिटी का यूज, इसीलिए प्लास्टिसिटी पढ़ना जरूरी है, ठीक है? जो आप बात यहाँ कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? Okay, fine.
Yes, there is a one, as I told, there is a one or more effects, just a maximum failure due to fatigue. Then we also study about the fatigue, as I saw.
नहीं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि फटीग फेलियर प्लास्टिसिटी की वजह से ही होगा हमेशा.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
ठीक है, that is the thing. मेरा क्वेश्चन जो था वो ये था कि क्या आप सिर्फ हमेशा प्लास्टिसिटी होती है क्या फटीग में, वो कह रहा था. और मैं आपका ये चाह रहा था कि हम पढ़ क्यों रहे हैं, इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, ठीक है? एनीवेज, सो लेट्स मूव ऑन. आपने एक go back to the slide. Now there was you talked about the sliding somewhere, right? Sliding. So and strain hardening की बात की. strain hardening क्यों होता है?
स्ट्रेन हार्डनिंग होती है जैसे मटेरियल की स्ट्रेस इंक्रीज करने के लिए, स्ट्रेस इंक्रीज करते हैं इसके लिए, तो उसमें उसकी वो स्ट्रॉन्गर बनता जाता है, मतलब उसकी
हाँ तो
प्रॉपर्टी।
yeah, that's okay, but why does it happens? What is actually the reason behind it? You need to explain it. Is
Sir,
there any?
dissipation of energy to the molecules
वो तो
of.
वो तो प्लास्टिसिटी की बात कर रहे हैं, परमानेंट डिफॉर्मेशन, स्ट्रेन हार्डनिंग पे हम कह रहे हैं व्हाई स्ट्रेन, व्हाई। आपने कहीं मोमेंट ऑफ डिसलोकेशन की बात की? मोमेंट
Yes
ऑफ
sir,
डिसलोकेशन
yes sir,
कहाँ पे बात की? कहीं बात की थी?
yes sir, moment of dislocation sir.
So this movement of dislocation increases the resistance
Yes
to
sir,
the applied stress,
and yes sir,
जिस जिसकी वजह से स्ट्रेन हार्डनिंग होगी, ठीक है?
yes sir.
ओके, now let's move to the stress strain relation that you talked about. हाँ, ओके, यहाँ पे ये स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन रिलेशन जो आपने दिखाया है, ये प्लास्टिसिटी डिफाइन करता है कि नॉन लीनियर इलास्टिसिटी डिफाइन करता है?
Non-linear elasticity sir.
तो आपने प्लास्टिसिटी की बात की ना कि
Actually sir, we cover the this is not on, sorry sir, this is not only for the elastic deformation, it's also for the plastic deformation study.
अच्छा, ये प्लास्टिक डिफॉर्मेशन में वैलिड होगा?
Yes sir, it's depends on curve slope sir.
अच्छा, तो अगर मैं इसमें एप्सिलॉन, मतलब कहने का मतलब है अगर एप्सिलॉन 0 कर दें तो सिग्मा की वैल्यू 0 आ जाएगी,
Yes sir,
है ना? तो जब आप ये अब उस केस में प्लास्टिक जोन में ये इलास्टिक प्लास्टिक को बता रहे हैं कि नॉन लीनियर इलास्टिक को बता रहे हैं कि प्योरली प्लास्टिक को बता रहे हैं? ये रिलेशन मुझे जरा बताएंगे।
in plastic region sir.
सिर्फ प्लास्टिक रीजन में? इसको थोड़ा पढ़िएगा, ठीक है? क्योंकि मुझे ये लग रहा है कि ये नॉन लीनियर इलास्टिसिटी का इक्वेशन आपने लिखा है,
Okay sir.
ठीक है? प्लास्टिक रेंज में नॉर्मली जो सिग्मा है डायरेक्ट एप्सिलॉन से कोरिलेट होने की बजाय इंक्रीमेंटल फॉर्म में होता है, ठीक है? जस्ट गो अहेड एंड सी इट। रेम्बर्ग ऑसगुड मॉडल भी आपका जो ये जो बताया रेम्बर्ग ऑसगुड मॉडल, ये सब इलास्टिक तक तो वैलिड नहीं, इलास्टिक के बाद के लिए वैलिड है, राइट? इलास्टिक में तो ठीक है। आप ये कह रहे हो कि रेम्बर्ग ऑसगुड मॉडल जो है, जब आप इलास्टिसिटी क्रॉस कर गए तो उसके बाद के इक्वेशन के लिए ये इक्वेशन वैलिड है, फिर उसमें एम आपके स्ट्रेन हार्डनिंग कांस्टेंट और ये जो आपने कहा अल्फा, so these will vary after once you cross the yield, then this relation is valid, right?
Yes sir.
विद इन इलास्टिक तो आप ये कह रहे हो कि मतलब आपके इस डायग्राम से कि दिस इज हुक्स लॉ।
Yes sir, Hooke's law, yes. Up to yield limit.
हाँ, तो पिछली वाली जो इक्वेशन हमने कही, दैट इज व्हाट यू शोड, इसमें अगर n की वैल्यू 1 कर दूं तो हुक्स लॉ वैलिड है, ठीक
Yes
है?
sir, yes sir.
और अगर दूसरी कोई वैल्यू करूं तो ये, मुझे अभी भी मैं कह रहा हूं कि दिस लुक्स लाइक मुझे नॉन लीनियर इलास्टिसिटी।
Okay sir, I up to yield limit you.
हाँ, तो नॉन लीनियर इलास्टिसिटी में मतलब वो हुक्स लॉ फॉलो नहीं कर रहा है, मगर वो इलास्टिक है,
Okay sir.
राइट? ओके, सो these were the some questions I had. Anyways, any other person if has any question, they can take it. There we have the people to answer, or otherwise we can move to the who's the other person? Aruna.
Arnav sir.
So we can move to Arnav in that case. Yeah, let's Aruna go ahead.
Okay sir. Thank you sir.
Yes.
Thank you sir. Sir, Arnav will be present on same lab computer.
हाँ,
सर अर्णव भी इसी
Yeah.
पे प्रेजेंट करेगा।
ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good
Arnav.
afternoon, everybody.
Right.
Myself, Arnav Viswas. Today, I am going to describe about application of plasticity.
Okay, one more thing before you start, that whatever presentation you guys are presenting, you need to upload that in the classroom
Okay, sir.
so that other can access it.
Okay, sir. As we all know, that plasticity is the propensity of a material to undergo plastic deformation under load. Here are some pointers to answer why we apply plasticity. The first one is the fatigue. Fatigue is defined as a process of progressive localized plastic deformation occurring in a material subjected to cyclic stresses and strain at high stress concentration locations that may culminate in cracks or complete fracture after a sufficient number of fluctuations. As we know that maximum of mechanical failure, approximately 50 to 90%, are by fatigue, is governed by the plastic deformation. So, in order to design better fatigue resistant materials structure, we use plasticity. Second one is in the manufacturing process. Plasticity is used in manufacturing process design. Plastic deformation involves in many mechanical forming processes. Some are rolling, forging, exclusion, wire drawing, deep drawing, and many others. Now, in rolling is a process in which material is going to be plastically deformed by passing between rollers. So here, the plastic deformation in material is due to the biaxial compression applied by the rollers on the material. Now, forging. In forging process, material is going to be plastically deformed through hammering, pressing, or rolling. The compressive forces are delivered with hammer or die. So here, the plastic deformation in metal is due to the compressive forces applied by the hammer or die. Exclusion. Exclusion is a process which is used to create objects of a fixed cross-section profile by pushing material through a die of a desired cross-section area. So here, plastic deformation in material is due to triaxial compression. Now, wire drawing. In wire drawing is a cold working process used to reduce the cross-section area of a wire by pulling the wire through single or series of drawing dies. Drawing operations involves pulling material through a die by means of tension force applied to the exit side of the die. Here, the plastic deformation is due to is caused by the compressive force arising from the reaction of the metal with the die. Deep drawing. Deep drawing is a sheet metal forming process. The process is considered deep drawing when the depth of the draw part exceeds its diameter. It is a combination of drawing and stretching. In this process, sheet metal blanks are converted into desired shape of component by pressing the central position of the sheet into die opening using a punch. So here plastic deformation of metal is due to the compressive force and tensile force. So that's also.
Okay, so it's mostly you have covered the applications, right?
Yes, sir.
Just okay. So nothing much to ask in this. I don't think so. There is anything to ask. So let's move to the Udit then.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, anyone has any question, you can ask to the group presenting.
Hello.
Yes, Sudip.
So I'm gonna discuss some questions related to plastic deformation, which I have selected from the book. Is my screen visible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes,
Hello.
it is. Yes, it
Okay.
is.
So should I start? Okay.
Okay.
So
Go
in question number one, we
ahead.
have there are certain annealed material yield point is taken as for which the permanent strain is 1/4 of the recoverable elastic strain. Two stress strain curve for the plastic range represented as the empirical equation. We have to find the stress at the yield point in terms of E and the true and the nominal value of the stress at Y. So we are annealing a material. Annealing simply means we are heating a material above its recrystallization point and is allowed to cool down in the furnace only. That is a way of reducing the stress after casting. So I have drawn a graph here already, which shows the true stress and true strain between, and this is the uh, values between them. So here our material is going from O to A and to B. So if from O to A is the elastic limit of the material and from A to B is the plastic limit. If we unload the material at A, the material will return to its original position O. And if we go beyond the point A and to the till the point B, it will only return to the point of C. So whatever we do, we cannot go back from the point C to point A. So this portion will be called as permanent strain position. And because this portion of the strain is coming back or recovering, so this is called temporary strain or recovery strain. So here we can easily start by, we have an empirical relation as E over 180. So first we need to find sigma at B in terms of E, and we need to find sigma at A. Yes, we need to find ultimate at instability. Instability I'll explain in a minute. So we start by first calculating the strain at point B. Strain at point B we can easily conclude as permanent strain plus our temporary strain. We can easily say the as we have given in the question, the permanent strain is 1/4 of the recoverable 1/4 of the temporary strain. So it is as 1/4 of the, that will give us the value as 5/4 of true to strain. Now we can easily put this into the equation and it will become, this is yield E over 180 5/4 of, sorry, I forgot one important thing before this. I need to explain. Very sorry for this. We need to further divide the temporary strain into components. So this slope, which is at this point and this point, is the same. And we all know the slope of the stress strain curve is equals to the this part is sigma y t yield, and this one is the temporary strain, and the slope of the stress strain curve is E, the Young's modulus, sigma yt divided by t. So we can easily put true strain as yield stress over Young's modulus. We need to put that here. It becomes this. Now we put this in our main
Yeah,
equation. Yes, sir.
Udit, can you come again?
Sir, which part? From the start or some point
No,
in
not
between?
from this. Not from the start. You have added this strain. That's fine. 5/4
Okay.
epsilon times t, whatever you said.
Okay.
Then after that, you can proceed.
So replacing epsilon t with sigma y by e, this part.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That is clear to me. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Should I explain it to others again or should I go ahead?
Others, if anybody has any question, they can ask, or we can proceed.
No, sir.
Okay, you can proceed then.
Mm. By putting this value in our equation, we get sigma yt is equals to e by 180 5/4 of sigma yt by e power quarters. It will give us a value of, sorry, will give us a value of sigma y by e is equals to 943.46. We can easily calculate this. This is the first part of our question done. For the second part of question, he's asking compute the true and the nominal values of the uniaxial instability stress in terms of y. So instability is another term for necking. Whenever instability or necking or the ultimate tensile position, ultimate tensile strength position.
Uh,
This position, ultimate tensile strength. And for this position, we have a very simple rule. The strain developed, the true strain developed at this position is equals to the n. This n is the empirical value in the in our equation. K is equals to epsilon n. This n comes from here. So strain becomes equals to n. So our stress will become k n, sorry, k n times n. So from here we'll continue our thing. So
no,
we need to,
how
sorry.
we are saying that epsilon t would be n.
So that is observational, or I don't know the derivation behind it. It's just a property.
Okay.
So we now need to calculate two values. We need to calculate the true stress and the nominal stress. The true stress and the nominal stress. True and nominal. Nominal is also called as engineering. Engineering stress or strain. So first we can calculate true is equals to epsilon over 180 epsilon. This is our empirical relation. Now we can easily say epsilon is equals to 0.25 at necking position or instability position is equals to E if we calculate this. E will comes out to be 943. Sorry. Here we sorry for that. Here he is asking to calculate the sigma ut, the ultimate tensile strength, in terms of, where is the cursor? In terms of yield stress. Yield stress we have, or yield stress in terms of E we have already calculated here. Yeah. So from there we can pull the relation down. E is equals to 943.46 sigma y. We can put this relation over here. So we get sigma is equals to 943.46 by 180. And this will give us the value of ultimate tensile stress divided by yield as 3.7. These both values are the true stresses. These are not nominal or engineering. Now to calculate the nominal stress, we need to first establish the relation the relation between the nominal and the true and the engineering stress. The true stress is represented as, this is engineering or nominal, 1 plus E epsilon. This is for one relation. The strain here is engineering strain, and the true strain is calculated as ln 1 plus nominal. So here we can easily put 1 plus nominal. From this equation we can easily pull out e raised to power et. This is an important observation. We can put this observation over in this equation and we'll get true stress is equals to nominal stress exponential of true strain. This is the relation we get. Now we all know we are talking about the point of instability. So at instability, the true strain is equals to 0.25. And we have actually calculated the true strain at this portion. This value and this value are both the same. So we can actually divide it by ultimate yield strength. This will get us 3.7. And our nominal stress in terms of yield stress will comes out to be 2.88. That concludes our first question. Is there any doubt in this?
Yeah, if anybody has any question, please ask. Yep. Udit, just zoom up the image.
Zoom up the video.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Go down. Just थोड़ा सा ऊपर जाना.
थोड़ा सा ऊपर.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Here you have written sigma yt equal to e by 180, 5 by 4, sigma yt by e again,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
What here sigma yt we are saying it is yield.
This is the true stress at point B, or
True
yield stress. True yield stress.
True yield stress.
Yes.
Which one? Sigma yt.
Sigma yt.
Right. Okay. So you are applying that first you are saying that your epsilon t is sigma yt by e, right? ये कह रहे हैं
Yes, sir.
by Hooke's law.
By Hooke's law.
And again we are saying sigma yt is equal to e by 180.
Sir, where?
That is your इसी रिलेशन में जो आपने लिखा है
Yes, sir.
sigma yt is e by 180 epsilon raised to 0.25, right? अब यहाँ पे एक जो मुझे ये डाउट आ रहा है, ये जो आपका रेंज है ये किस रेंज में एप्लीकेबल है ये फॉर्मूलेशन?
सर जो
पूरे
ये वाला जो सिग्मा yt by e is equals to 943.
पूरा पूरा e by 180 जो आपको क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ है.
सर e by 180. सर e by 180. ओके.
ये तो प्लास्टिक रेंज के लिए वैलिड है सिर्फ.
यस सर. तो सर हाँ
प्लास्टिक रेंज के लिए वैलिड है ना?
यस सर.
सिर्फ प्लास्टिक रेंज के लिए है कि इसको आप इलास्टिक में भी यूज कर सकते हो, प्लास्टिक में भी यूज कर सकते हो. इलास्टिक में तो आप यूज नहीं कर सकते, एग्रीड है ना, क्योंकि हुक्स लॉ फॉलोड होगा.
यस सर. So this can only be used in plastic, I think.
तो फिर हम गो डाउन.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, सिग्मा yt इज अ ट्रांजिशन पॉइंट, तो वहां लगा दिया हमने इसको.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, सिग्मा yt क्योंकि आपका ट्रांजिशन पॉइंट है, इधर भी है उधर भी है.
Yes, sir.
फाइन. ओके, ठीक है. Then you have said that true and nominal. Okay, that is fine. Go down. Anybody has any question they can ask, or Udit can take it if there is any question, or we can. Is there any other question, Udit, you have also?
Yes, sir. There's one more question.
Okay, so we are anyways. So what we'll do, we'll take it in the tomorrow's class if it is okay.
Yes, sir.
How long it will take for you?
Sir, it'll take if I explain it in a quick pace, it will take me like 5-6 minutes.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll start with you tomorrow.
Okay.
ठीक है, और उसके बाद next topic को हम चालू कर लेंगे. Not a problem. ठीक है, we'll stop here. If anybody has any question on this, the example problem that Udit has taken. कोई कुछ क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछेगा. चलो ठीक है, we'll stop here today then. Okay, thank you all. Tomorrow the second group, I hope I have already informed that we'll be meeting at the same time 4 o'clock again tomorrow.
Sir.
Right? Dinesh, Rahul and Vajanti.
Yes, sir.
All three are here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please be informed, all in the anyways, all the students that we'll be meeting at 4 again, right? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
all.
Thank you, sir.